Today on Dr. Phil.
Shaun is the whole package. I feel he's my soulmate.
I gave my mother an ultimatum: either speak with Dr. Phil or I was done speaking to her.
Your son believes to the core of his soul that somebody is breaking your heart and stealing your money. You've never met her.
No.
Is she educated?
Yes, he has his master's.
Happiness just enter into my life through my ear. He must have skipped 5th grade because that's where they teach grammar. Everything he's told you is a lie. This is a scumbag piece of trash that is stealing your money and breaking your heart.
I don't believe it.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. Well, you know, I read through the emails and letters that I get daily. We categorize them, we put them in groups, and I look at the ones that I think are going to relate most to all of you here and all of you at home. And these are a stack that are thanking us for raising awareness about online love scams. Now, my guest today, Darcy and his wife, Lindsey, are also fans of our platform and say they have replicated techniques from past episodes to convince Darcy's mom, Nancy, that she's being scammed by someone calling themselves Shaun Carter. Now, Darcy says they were talking to my producers last year and almost had the opportunity to meet me, but his mom declined. Nancy says then her son and daughter-in-law have refused to speak to her and even said, as far as they're concerned, she's dead to them. Now, while Darcy wrote to me concerned about his mother, Nancy's online boyfriend, Nancy says today's not about this boyfriend, it's about fixing the broken relationship with her son. She says Darcy will only speak to her if I'm the mediator and wants to talk to her son one-on-one for the first time in over a year. Take a look.
My mother, Nancy, has fallen for an online love scam. Last year, I wrote to Dr. Phil about my mother's online relationship with Shaun Carter.
We were actually supposed to meet with Dr. Phil last year, but at the last minute, Nancy decided that she didn't want to do it.
I gave my mother an ultimatum. It was either for her to speak with Dr. Phil or I was done speaking to her. She didn't change her mind about it, so Lindsey and I have had to cut her off. We have tried everything to prove this to her.
Within 3 months, you send him $108,485.
We have shown Nancy episodes of Dr. Phil, but she still doesn't think that Shaun is a scam.
My mother gave us the address to which this Shaun lives, and I found a real estate agent who lives in that neighborhood. He told me that he had never seen him in that neighborhood.
The realtor also told us that that exact address was in fact used for other online scams.
I reverse image searched Shaun's photo, and I found the actual man behind the pictures, and he was a French man. And when my mother confronted Shaun about this, he explained that he had only used those photos because he looks like the man. And because of his security clearance at his job, he couldn't actually have photos of himself. Even after all of this, my mother continues to talk to him.
Nancy doesn't even know what Shaun really looks like.
My relationship with my mother is pretty much non-existent. She has known me for 32 years and Shaun for 2. My mother chose Shaun over me.
I haven't seen Nancy in a year and a half.
In my eyes, my mother is dead to me.
Well, I hate to hear that. That's not okay. She's not dead to you, and you shouldn't be saying that. But I do understand your frustration. When it comes to her soulmate, Shaun, Nancy says it's none of her family's business.
Shaun's still stuck in Dubai because he does not have the 20 grand to pay the taxes. They've really helped Shaun out a lot. I do this because I love him and I care for him. Shaun has become the light of my life. Shaun is the whole package. I feel he's my soulmate. I have intuition about it. My gut feeling tells me. The last time I spoke to Shaun was a couple days ago, and I can't tell you about it because it was kind of dirty. He does a lot of sexting to me, and of course I do it right back to him. Shaun and I have only been able to communicate over the phone or through text. The reason why is that he's a very private person. These are some of the text messages that I get from Shaun. You're a beautiful and sexy girl, and you know it. So why are you trying to hide it? Missing you so much, sexy, hot girl. My son Darcy and his wife Lindsey are very upset at me with my relationship with Shaun. My son thinks that Shaun is a scammer, a fraud, and a phony. Darcy's upset because I've sent Shaun money, and he said to me that he could have used that money to help him and Lindsey have a baby through in vitro. My son Darcy is controlling, rude, and argumentative. My relationship with my son and daughter-in-law is broken. In my eyes, sitting down with Dr. Phil has nothing to do with Shaun. What I want to talk to Dr. Phil about is to fix my relationship with my son and with my daughter-in-law, Lindsey.
Well, it's good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Well, it's good to meet you. You said that this really isn't about your relationship with this Shaun. It's about your relationship with your son.
Yes.
And I agree with you to a large extent. I don't like this family being fragmented at all.
No.
And I want your relationship with your son to close ranks. I want you two to be back in each other's lives. He's frustrated because he thinks you're being scammed.
Yes, he
Now,
is.
if he knew something that somebody was hurting you, somebody was exploiting his mother, what would you expect him to do? What would you want him to do?
Well, he has helped me try to find, the real person.
But that's not my question. Whether it was this or if somebody was poisoning your food or breaking into your house at night and stealing money, if he knew somebody was hurting you in some way, and he knew that in his heart, he believed that to the core of his soul, what would you want him to do? What would you expect him to do?
To help me.
You would expect him to passionately advocate for you, right?
Yes.
That's what he's doing. He believes to the core of his soul that somebody is breaking your heart and stealing your money. Mm-hmm. Now, whether he's right or not, that's what he believes. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. And you're saying that's what you would expect him to do if he really believed that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So how can you be frustrated with him if he really believes that? Maybe he's wrong. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if he believes that, that's what you would expect him to do.
Yes. But he doesn't have to not be in touch with me.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I'm 100% on your side on that. But you would expect him to continue to beat the drum if that truck's coming up behind you.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Now, is it possible he's right? Here's a poem he wrote to Nancy. Happiness, just enter into my life through my ear, to my brain, and I sticked it to my heart. Is he educated?
Yes, he has his master's.
But he must have skipped 5th grade because that's where they teach grammar. And later, why can't he show you his picture?
He just can't have any pictures on his phone.
The Canadian government says you can't have a picture to show the woman you love.
Yeah. Well, you got the CIA, and we got it too in Canada.
So you think he may be an agent?
Yes.
Your son's frustrated because he thinks you're being scammed.
Yes.
Now, is it possible he's right? I mean, is that possible?
Yes, it is possible.
And if he's right, would you want to know it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You would want to know it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. Let's say you and I, this is just hypothetical here. Let's say you and I got together in a nefarious way. It's the Nancy and Phil show. And we decided we were going to scam somebody. We were going to try and take their money. Who would we pick? Would we pick somebody that was really at the strongest point in their life? Or would we pick somebody that was maybe vulnerable and had really kind of been beaten up a little bit?
Probably vulnerable.
Yeah, you'd pick somebody that had kind of been through a rough patch because we know that they would have some needs, right?
Yes.
Like maybe somebody that had suffered a loss in their life. That's who you would pick, right?
That's right, yeah.
You lost your husband.
Yes.
I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
Thank you.
And how long had you been married?
About 35 years.
35 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a long time to share your life with someone. And the silence is deafening when they're gone, right? Yeah, Robin and I have been married 45 years. I can't imagine walking in a room and her not being there one day all of a sudden. It'd be a huge void. And so you would fall right in that category. He started telling you things that were music to your ears, Shaun did. Here's a poem he wrote to Nancy. He said, "Hey, baby, since the first day I spoke to you on the phone, I knew a new tone and voice of happiness just enter into my life through my ear, to my brain, and I sticked it to my heart. I love you so much, my Snow Whitey. I love you so much, my sweetie. I love you so much, my naughty Nancy. I love you so much, Mousy Mouse. I love you so much, Sweet Lips. I love you so much, my baseball bat girl. I love you so much, Darcy Mama." Where's he from?
Canada.
Canada. And is he educated?
Yes, he has his master's.
Okay. But he must have skipped 5th grade because that's where they teach grammar.
He went to school in England.
Oh, okay. Well, they teach it in 5th grade in England, too.
I know.
So he must have skipped that. Why baseball bat girl?
Oh, because I had he seen a picture of me wearing a baseball hat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Baseball hat.
Yeah.
So he meant baseball hat girl?
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay. I looked into this, Shaun, and did a real deep dive on that because I have a lot of resources, as you've seen from some of the things your son showed you. And when we come back, I'm going to tell Nancy what I found out. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell her straight up what I found out. And then soon, we're going to talk to her son, Darcy. But first, I'm going to talk to Nancy some more. We'll be right back. I've done a lot of investigations into these love scams, and there's a pattern. So I went through your story, and boy, oh boy.
I think I'm having a nightmare. My mom is being scammed by an online con artist. This absolutely makes no sense because my mother was the one who is always up to date about the newest scam.
It's crazy. Before all of this, we would go to Nancy for financial advice.
My mother is the type of person who is scared to shop online as she thinks it's a scam. At this point, I think Dr. Phil will be the only one that can help my mother with her situation.
I just hope that Dr. Phil can get through to her before it's too late.
Okay, well, Nancy's son Darcy says he's gone from having a really close relationship with his mom to practically being strangers, all over a man that she's never met or seen. You've actually never seen him on a live feed.
No, I haven't.
And you've never met him.
No.
And when you say you've never met him, he just lived 2 hours away, right?
Right.
So why never meet him if he's just 2 hours away?
Because when I met him online, he had to go to Dubai within like a week.
Within a week, he had to leave for work.
Yes.
Construction
Yes.
work overseas in Dubai. And then once he got there, he got in a bit of a pickle tax-wise, right? And he owes like $10,000, $20,000 it is?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, on $10 million worth of income, work, and all, but the tax on it's like $20,000.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and you've tried to help him with that financially.
Yes, I have, yeah.
So he can get back. So you meet him, and as soon as you meet him, he has to leave. And then when he gets over there, he needs money to get back. Huh. See, that was a red flag to me, because when I've done a lot of investigations into these love scams, and there's a pattern that they meet a woman, and because if they're not real, if they're not who they present as a picture, then they have to have some reason to not show up because they're not who they say they are in the picture. If they're a 16-year-old Nigerian girl or a 60-year-old Nigerian man, they can't show up looking like a picture that's not them. So they have to say, now, how can I pull this off and keep the relationship going when I can't show up in the flesh because I'm not that? Here's the thing, I'll go overseas and be working over there, and then I can't get back. Let's take a look at this videotape about remote locations, about how these scammers jump into remote locations on a regular basis so they don't have to show up. Take a look at this.
I'm in Ghana.
He's stuck in Cairo.
He ended up in Nigeria.
I had rescued Fred from Africa.
David went to Indonesia.
He moved to Nigeria.
He had to go to Nigeria.
I mean, time after time, they're all in construction. They're construction engineers. They all had to go to Nigeria, Dubai, Venezuela, all of these other countries which are far, far away. So they can't come meet you for dinner or Christmas. It's very, very consistent. And I actually put together a graphic that shows what some of the consistent patterns are. And I want you to take a look at this and see how much it has inconsistent with what you're dealing with. These are typical patterns and excuses of online love scammers. And I didn't make this up for you. This is just all of them that we dealt with. They say they're arrested, hospitalized, they have sick kids, money or credit cards are stolen, frozen bank accounts. Even had one said they were shipwrecked. Honest to God, pirates got them. They're poetically romantic, my little Batgirl. They have lost or stolen passports, expired visas or passports. I've actually had them say they were on the way to the airport to come home and they got beaten up. They're stuck in a foreign country until taxes are paid. That's one of the big favorites. They're widowed, never a face-to-face meeting, poor grammar, fake documents, Photoshop pictures, had to leave immediately after meeting. Like, hi, love you, gotta go. And they're construction engineers having to work projects overseas, and they need money for lawyer fees, access to insurance payoffs, all of this sort of thing. So I went through your story about Shaun Carter, and I checked off the things that fit in your story.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, widowed, no face-to-face, poor grammar, had to leave immediately, in construction, stuck in a foreign country until taxes are paid. I mean, all up and down. Just consistent with everything that's typical. So it made me want to start checking to see whether or not other things checked out. You said he couldn't show you his real pictures because of his security clearance.
Right.
Even to the woman he loves. And he's a contractor.
He must have a little part-time job.
I wanted to know whether or not this real pictures because of his security clearance.
Right.
Because is he like 007 or something? I mean, is he in some kind of undercover work, or why can't he show you his picture?
I don't know. He's under.
I'm sorry?
I don't know why. He just can't have any pictures on his phone.
Even to the woman he loves?
Yeah, he signed a, very contract, with the government.
What government?
Canadian.
The Canadian government says you can't have a picture to show the woman you love.
Yeah.
And he's a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now Nancy.
This must be his other, he must have a little part-time job or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, now, does that make common sense to you?
Well, you got the CIA in the States, right?
Right.
We got it too in Canada.
So you think he may be an agent?
Yes.
A CIA agent?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanted to see if he really existed. So I wanted to check out whether or not someone with that name and birth date existed.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the resources I have, if he was a secret agent even, he wasn't when he was born. Yeah. He wasn't when he was in the 5th or 6th grade. So those records would still exist. And here are some findings that we've come up with and verified. And these are things that our team came up with. We first corresponded with the real man in the photos, because there were some photos originally. And we found the man that is in those pictures. We talked to the man, and he said, these pictures have been stolen. We also found out that a non-resident can open a bank account and have a debit card in Dubai. So he told you that he couldn't.
Yeah.
And that's why you needed...
I don't think they can.
No, they can. Yes,
I searched it too.
Well, then you talk to the wrong people, because they say non-residents can open bank accounts and they can have debit cards in Dubai.
Okay.
This isn't a close call. This is not a question. You can go over there right now today, open a bank account and have a debit card in Dubai. You can transfer money from here to there. You can do they're very westernized. You can do everything there that you can do in New York City or Ontario. The phone number that he's given you is listed to a different name.
I wonder what the name is.
Well, I would happy to tell you that, but not on the air, because that would pull somebody else into this that's not involved. He attended the University of Florida, right? No, he did not. He never attended the University of Florida. Nobody of that name ever attended the University of Florida. Nobody of that birth date ever attended the University of Florida. He never attended the University of Florida. That's a lie. It was just made up. We've spoken to the registrar. We've gone all the way back. We went 10 years before, 10 years after.
What about San Diego? I just found something out.
Well, that ain't in Florida.
No, I know, but on his LinkedIn.
Well, we'll have that checked while I'm speaking. My control room is on that like a duck on a June bug. You talking about San Diego State or the University of San Diego at California? We'll check them both.
Yeah.
Okay? If it's got San Diego in it,
Yeah.
we'll check it right now. And there is no Shaun Carter with that date of birth in the entire country of Canada. Border to border, coast to coast. This man doesn't exist. This is a scumbag, piece of trash, psychopath, thief in the night that is stealing your money and breaking your heart. He doesn't exist.
I don't believe it. He's for real.
Not one thing he's told you is true. What's going on? You don't have to believe Darcy, you just have to believe me. This man doesn't exist, not as a secret agent, not as a contractor, not as anyone else. This is very likely some Nigerian sitting in a computer workroom, and you're one of 50 or 60 files they're working at one time. Now, I think you know that at some level. You are an intelligent woman. You have questioned this in your heart. I have verified this man doesn't exist. We live in the digital age. Mm-hmm. This man would leave a footprint like a snail walking across the driveway. He does not exist. He is not in Dubai. He didn't go to Florida. We're going to find out he didn't go to San Diego. He does not exist. Everything he's told you is a lie. His phone number is a fiction. It doesn't belong to him. His pictures don't belong to him. He didn't go to school where he said he went to school. He didn't go over there to do this work. He doesn't owe money. He hasn't been there for 2 years working because that's not possible. We checked to see if he had visas there to work. He does not.
I think he's got a business visa.
I'm sorry?
A business.
No, he doesn't.
No.
He does not. There is no visa there. If you have a business visa, you have to list all the principals under the visa. He doesn't exist. He doesn't have a business visa there. You can have a business visa for 30 days, then you can extend it for another 30 days to 60. And at this point, he's been there 2 years. He doesn't have a business visa there.
No, they can have more. You can have 5 years,
I
10-year
understand that.
visa.
And if he did, it would be on record. He doesn't have one. He doesn't have a business visa. He doesn't have an allowance. He doesn't have anything that has extended his right to be there, because in order to have something extended, you have to have been there to begin with. You don't just come and go from Dubai. You have to register in, you have to register out.
I know.
He did not register in, he has not registered out, and he is not registered there. And trust me, they know who's in that country. He's never been there because he doesn't exist.
I don't believe it.
Pardon me?
I don't believe it.
Okay. That's my big question. I want you to tell me what is really going on, because you're smart enough to recognize irrefutable, concrete evidence when you see it, and you're choosing not to acknowledge it. So what's really going on?
I just believe that he's for real. I mean, some of the things that you have shown me, I understand that he could be a scammer. You know, he has all the characteristics of some of those things that you wrote. And, but I believe that he's a real person.
Okay. Well, there's a real person on the other end. Somebody's
Yeah.
writing to you.
Yeah.
But it's not who you think it is. I'm serious. Somewhere in Nigeria, in a room,
No, he's not.
there's
No,
somebody sitting and typing, and you're one of about 50 people there working.
No. No.
And there's no one with that date of birth. There's no one in the country where he says he is. There's no one that went to the universities that he says he went to. There's no one with those degrees. This person simply doesn't exist. Not one thing he's told you is true. Everything that's verifiable has been refuted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I want to know is what's going on with you that knowing those facts, knowing you didn't go to the University of Florida, knowing that there's nobody in the entire country of Canada with that name and date of birth, knowing that those pictures are fraudulent and stolen, knowing all of that, you still say, oh, he's real. I'm sending him some more Bitcoin. I'm sending him some more money. Knowing all of that, you continue to insist in the face of evidence to the contrary and no evidence supporting your belief, you continue to embrace this at the cost of your relationship with people that love you. What's going on? Because it's not logical thinking. So my question is, are you delusional? Do you have a mental illness? Are you doing this for some other reason? What is going on? Is there anybody here that believes this is a real man? If you believe this man is a fraud, raise your hand. 100% of the people recognize clearly that this is a fraud.
You're not giving him a chance.
Is there anybody here that believes this is a real man? Raise your hand if you believe it's a real man. If you believe this man is a fraud, raise your hand.
No.
Virtual audience, you believe it's fraud, raise your hand. 100% of the people recognize clearly that this is a fraud, except for you. And you don't even blink. It's like, yeah, gotcha. I hear you, see the evidence.
You're not giving him a chance to prove himself.
He's had every chance to prove himself. He had a chance to tell you who he was. He had a chance to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
He had a chance to give you accurate information, and he gave you lies and asked you for money.
Mm-hmm.
And if he really loved you, he wouldn't allow you to give him money. He would say, no, keep your money to take care of yourself because I love you and I want you to be secure. I'm a man. I've got a master's degree. I can earn my own money. I won't accept money from you because I love you and I want you to be secure. If he loved you, that would be the rhetoric. Instead, it's send me money to pay these taxes and then I'll come home. So if you don't look at the logic, look at the emotion of it. He's out there working in the world and he's taking money from you. Nobody that really cared about you would do that. No woman would do that with a man. No man would do that with a woman that they really cared about. But you're ignoring evidence and embracing a belief in the absence of evidence. And I'm just saying, explain that to me. I want to know what's really going on.
I don't think there's nothing going on. My son thinks I'm delusional.
Pardon me?
My son thinks I'm delusional. He took me to the doctor.
Well, we just spoke to the head of alumni relations at the University of San Diego, and they just confirmed no Shaun Carter has ever in the history of the university attended that school.
Okay.
I mean, however far you want to go, I'll go as far as you want to go. I'll track this as far as you want to go, and I'll put my professional reputation at stake. This man does not exist. He is a psychopathic scumbag fraud that's stealing your money and breaking your heart. And I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear because I care about you as a human being and I don't want to see you taken advantage of. You would like me a lot better if I would agree with you. And I'd sit over there beside you and we'd take your son on together and put him in his place. You'd leave here and say, that Dr. Phil, man, he got your back. He's right there with you. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. Now, Darcy says he hasn't seen his mom, Nancy, in person in 1.5 years. Well, it's time that they speak face to face when we add Nancy's son next. Well, we're out of time today, but we're only getting started. Tune in tomorrow when Nancy and her son Darcy speak face-to-face for the first time in over a year. And what secret has Darcy been hiding from Nancy about Shaun Carter? Well, it shocked both her and me. And will Nancy finally take my advice about Shaun? She definitely was not backing down.
Next time, a mother and son face off.
Hi, Nancy.
You call your mother Nancy?
Over a catfish controversy.
How much have you sent him total?
Probably about 50 grand.
How much money will you send before you say enough's enough? How long will you wait before he doesn't come back from Dubai?
Maybe another year. He might be coming back. I still have to keep an open mind.
You cannot put your life on hold for a ghost.
That's next time.
You do not want to miss that. Look, I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's episode, log on to drphil.com. And if you want to be in the studio audience, yes, we do have live audiences back in the studio now. Just go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience. We're following all the CDC guidelines. Everybody here has a mask on, and we're keeping you guys safe, right? They're bringing you in properly. So we do have audiences back in studio, which really helps me a lot. So if you're in the area and you can be here, we'd love to have you in the studio audience. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Be sure and join the Facebook group, Fanatics, that's P-H-A-N. It's a private group of super fans, and be sure and check out my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. I'm on part 4 of Toxic Personalities in the Real World. In this episode, I dive into communal narcissist as well as finishing up on malignant narcissist. Also, check out Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret, with international best-selling author, journalist, and podcast host Mitch Albom. They're going to dive into his highly successful book, Tuesdays with Morrie, and his profound new novel of hope and faith, The Stranger in the Lifeboat. You don't want to miss this conversation. Check it out on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Thanks for being here. So long.